Hello, hello, and welcome back to Retrieving Sanity, your recovery focused podcast with your host, Keegan. And I got a little bit of a story for y'all today. You know how usually we spend our whole lives building a normal, we pick out our furniture, we plan our weekends, and we even argue about what's for dinner. Then, in the span of a heartbeat, sometimes normal can just evaporate. So this week, I found myself in the shoes of a man that didn't really know what the hell to do, and I just kind of had to wing it, rather. And I mean, that's kind of what we have to do in recovery a lot of the time whenever we are dealing with life on life's terms. So just sit back, relax, enjoy. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe on YouTube, maybe, or just leave a comment. Let me know how you feel about this episode. And if you have any moments where handling life on life's terms just kind of left you a little clueless. Now, I don't want to get into too many personal details because this story isn't entirely mine to share, even though it definitely is, and to a certain degree, of course. So I'm going to not go into all the details, but I'm going to let enough know that it was definitely a scary situation. So earlier this week, I was awoken at around 3 a.m. and with not good news. The wife was in a lot of pain. And let me tell you right now that I had to fight every little bit of myself in old programming and childhood wounds, rather, that was essentially what I had heard all my life. Tough it out. And that is definitely not something you say to your loved one whenever they are in immense amount of pain, and you just don't do that. So I had to sit there and just wake up and be like, what is going on? Like, okay, like she's really hurting. Like, this is not good. What do? And it was terrifying, to be honest. And of course, some of the things that came to mind weren't necessarily the best things of what the diagnosis could end up being. So, not being a doctor, not having all these medical fancy tools at our own apartment, we decided to run her to the ER. So, trying to put on my shoes and everything, thankfully, I have easy put on shoes. Otherwise, they'd probably have been on the wrong foot. So, I just got to say that it was a moment where everything just kind of started falling apart. And it's not easy to do that whenever, well, one, you're in just trying to find a new job, and two, whenever you think everything is just going smoothly for once, even though you're trying to find a new job. Weird, right? Recovery for you. It's full of twists and turns that'll make you just go, huh, that's interesting. But the thing is that whenever we got to the hospital, there was no one there. Well, there was some people there, but they were there for daytime surgery, I guess. But they were in the ER waiting room, and so it was just essentially me and the wife. And I had to fill out a piece of paper and just put it in a little tray and hope that someone came by really quick. And knowing my wife, she usually doesn't express pain. Like, she doesn't emote it. She doesn't let it out in the form of letting others know how she's feeling. It's just one of those things of growing up. It's kind of the same thing for me, It's very much a stop crying or I'll give you a reason to cry, or you better shut up, you just tough it out, and just whatever. And it sucked just watching her hurt. And so some of the things that were on the minds of both of us of what it could be potentially fatal. And with that on the mind, everything started kind of going a little bit haywire. So she was like, hey, you like see if there's someone available. And of course there's one guy at the desk, and I'm like, hey, like, is there anyone here? Like, it's you, but you're the receptionist, I guess. And he was saying that yes, there's someone in the triage room. They can see you through the window because it was one way, a two-way get, whatever. It was a reflection for us, but the people on the inside could see out. So they knew that we were there. So, and thankfully I had called to let them know that we were on the way. That was some of the only foresight that I really had. And otherwise, it was just very much a what the hell is going on and what do we do about it? And I hope she's going to be okay. So I had asked him, I was like, so what if it's a life-threatening thing going on? And he was like, just speechless. Thankfully, right around that time, actually a few seconds after that, someone came out the door, got Jordy, and wheeled us back to have her looked at. And while we were just waiting for everything, it felt like eternity was going on. And I mean, have you ever sat there in the middle of a test or something in school and you look up at the clock and the second hand, you're like, I swear it's been like 5 seconds and that thing hasn't even clicked once. And then it finally does. And then you're like, oh, okay. That, wait, that was a second? What the fuck? So yeah, that was that whole trip to the ER. And a lot of it was just waiting. And I didn't know what else to do. You know, I've had my CNA and phlebotomy licenses, but what good does that do? That's just how to help take care of people in some sense. And even then, it's just changing the bed sheets or drawing some blood with a needle, you know? So, woo. Not a lot of good I was going to be in any kind of situation except for being an emotional support. And at that point, that's all I knew how to do was just kind of be the steadier one and just be like, all right, crap. Like if the doctor comes in, I can talk to him a little bit. I can't give all the signs and like I can tell him what's going on, but I can't say how she's feeling. Only she can say that. And she was in a lot of pain. So thankfully, doctor came in and everything, and he was doing the pressing on her and was like, oh yeah, it could definitely be this because of where the pain's located. So quickly got her back to a CAT scan, which in my opinion was still not fast enough. And then there's another thing that happened while she was back getting her CAT scan. Before she got wheeled back into the room, I heard the doctors and everything on the outside talking about how there was a malfunction with something and that her test results were going to take about an hour. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, this is not good. Because if it's something that we think it is, then it could be, as far as I knew, game over. And it's not fun. And thankfully, it came to be something rather benign, or rather small, I should say. And they were able to give her the appropriate medicine and send us on our merry way. And I say merry, but you know what I mean. So it was very much a it sucked. It really sucked. But in the moment, I was able to sit there and understand that I sometimes am just so worried about things in a way that I shouldn't be worried about. And she was telling me that afterwards she was so worried that she wasn't going to leave me anything. And I was like, I don't care about you leaving me anything. I just care about you being here. And it sucked, you know, because in recovery I've come to love life. I've come to love myself. I've come to love her with all my heart. And it's one of those things that's like, why is it that one, I have health scares at first. I'm kind of mad at myself because of what I did in the past, and now that I'm loving life, I may have a shortened visit here, but thankfully I think those kind of passed. But I mean, you know what I mean. But why is it that whenever someone is so good for me and we're so good for each other that something like that could just be taken away at a moment's notice? Seems so unfair. And that's what a lot of recovery is understanding that life isn't necessarily fair or unfair. It's just life. And we have to learn how to deal with it on its own terms. So that's why normal doesn't really exist. We get used to things, but I don't really think that normal is something that we should strive for. And I had an episode with Dr. Chad Scott on Dark Tourism Part 2 the other day. And we had talked about how we need to change our perspectives of just like one more day, you know, just mark off one more day on the calendar or the tally board, whatever. And if we think of it as one less day, it really hits home and makes everything shift because if that was the last day or last few moments, I don't know what the hell I was going to do. And why did I shut up? Watch. Sorry about that. So that's the thing, is that I don't know what I was going to do. I really don't. And all I can say is that it can make me get ready in a way that it's like, well, what can we do about that? There's nothing. But what we can do is take preventative measures to a sort to help that kind of thing not happen again. Or if it happens again, maybe we'll be a little bit more prepared for it. But again, we don't recognize whenever life is going to throw us something that doesn't require our permission to enable, to have happen. Just like a car wreck. You can do your best at your driving and make sure your tires are all inflated, your oil's taken care of, your transmission fluid, windshield wiper fluid, maybe your blinker fluid. If you drive a BMW, you know what I mean. Anyways, I digress. We can sit there and make sure that everything on our end is taken care of. We can't control or really influence other people's to do the same, or have life cooperate and say, nah, yeah, you're doing good. Why don't we just give you more good stuff? No, sometimes it's going to go, oh, you're doing good. Oh, yeah, don't forget, you were supposed to take a turn back there. I was like, what? So, what I really want to say, though, is that if you have loved ones around you, just let them know that you love them. And even though it may sound corny and silly, live every day like it's your last. And love those around you like it's going to be their last day too. Because you never really know when these moments will hit. We never really know whenever the last breath is going to happen. And even if we think we do, or even if we think we're ready, whenever the moment comes, we'll find ourselves tripping up over things that we thought we were in control of or had a handle of. And let me tell you, some of the thoughts that I had in my head after or while we were waiting were, I haven't had those kind of thoughts in a long time. And not like, oh, I'm going to go drink or anything like that. Just other thoughts that were very much like, wow, I've not had that in a very long time. Whoa, let's not go there. So it was very telling. It was something that opened old wounds in a sense. And in a way, it can show me how much I've healed. It shows me how much work we've put in together. It shows me how far we've both come in our own respective journeys and how far we've come together as a couple. It's amazing and it just really makes me happy. But the thing is that holy shit, was that scary. And I don't want that to happen again. But the thing is, with life, like I said, we don't get to choose a lot of things that life decides to throw our way. Sometimes we can sit there and, for instance, having the company have a merger, and I chose not to conform and therefore was a bad attitude. So whatever, that is on me, you know? So whatever comes from those repercussions, I can actually handle a little bit more of, because it's my accountability. It's my responsibility one way or another, even if it sucks ass. But the thing is, whenever it's out of my control, it's out of my influence, what do I do in those moments? How am I going to react? Am I going to rely on those old triggers, those old wounds, those old programs that were taught and put into me by those that were hurt themselves? Or am I going to take a second, to take a breath, to reevaluate the situation, to be able to respond appropriately? Am I going to reflect on the things that I did right? Or am I going to reflect and dwell on the things that I only wish I had done? I don't know. I'm going to do my best to respond appropriately, take that second, to take a breath, to reevaluate, to readjust as needed, and move forward. But I also cannot go back to old patterns, old ways, old thinking, because I got a glimpse at it again, and let me tell you, it's not where I want to be. Hell, I don't know how long I survived all that shit. And in a sense, I didn't, because, I mean, if you know my story, I didn't really make it through the detox. I did, and I also didn't. So I'm not going to do that again. And I don't want anyone else to have to go through something similar or worse just to come to the same conclusion. I just hope that you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. It's a Friday. Let's go celebrate. And we can redefine what fun is. We don't have to get hammered. We don't have to get wasted. We don't have to do anything that takes away our sobriety. We don't have to do anything that takes away from the moment. We can do things that just take 5 minutes and sit down and not even scroll on your phone. Just put your head back and relax some. Sometimes that's enough, because if all you do is go, 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 what are you going to do whenever you run out of go-go juice? If you know what I mean. So I just encourage you to love your loved ones, and to just do your best at whatever it is. Try to be your favorite self, no matter when or where, and just try to love yourself so that you can share that love with others as well. Because we don't treat others worse than we treat ourselves. So just be the light that you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. And I hope you enjoy your weekend. With that being said, we'll see y'all next time. Much love. Schlan.